The lion's share, an episode separated into 4 sections. Preface. You have probably heard of the lion's share when one takes more than their fair share of something. When it comes to advertising, everyone must secure their lion's share in time, otherwise you lose out to the quicker person. People act as though there isn't enough for everyone in the world. There is a pretty good story about Aesop that originates in old Greece. We can't be completely sure of what he said because all his notes were burned or destroyed. I am Pero, and I can imagine how it happened back in the day in good old Greece, and I will tell you the story now. Section 1. That's it. It was a Sunday afternoon when a little lamb got separated from the other lambs while grazing. A cat saw this and thought, "Yummy! I would love to have him as my Sunday dinner." Shortly afterwards, she met a donkey. "Did you see the lamb over there? The one that got separated from the rest?" "Yes, I have velvet paw," says the donkey. "I am hungry, but this one is a little too big, and if the guard dogs notice, we'll be in trouble." "Well," says the cat, "maybe the fox knows how to get the little lamb. You should walk over there and ask him if he has any ideas." "I will," laughs the donkey and hops over to the den. The donkey shouts, "Hello, dear neighbor, I have something new for you." But the fox can't hear anything because he is nocturnal and sleeps during the day and gets up at night when the sun goes down. You could even hear him snore. The donkey stomps so heavily on top of the den that the stones begin to fly in. One of them hits the fox and wakes him up. He runs out of the den and yells, "You idiot! You woke me up from my best dream ever, and now I must also find a carpenter to fix my ceiling." "Oh well," says the donkey with a grin, "it's not easy waking you. Over there is a lamb alone, and the cat and I would like to eat it. Do you have any ideas on how to catch it? We will share it with you." "Of course I do," suggests the fox. "You must go to the lion. He can get it done with ease." "Perfect," says the donkey. "And are you coming with me?" "I'd rather not," says the fox. "I am still tired." Meanwhile, the cat joined the group and says, "The more of us there are, the more intimidating we'll appear." "Yes, okay," says the fox, "but just for you, and you better leave me alone during daytime from now on." The 3 of them walk over to the lion. He is stretching and thinking about what to eat. "We have a great idea for lunch," says the cat, "but you would have to help us. Over there is a lonely lamb, and it needs to be killed and butchered." "Interesting," says the lion. "I didn't notice." "Okay, listen, here is the plan. I walk over to the hazel bush and hide. You, fox, run towards the lamb and pretend to bite him. If the guard dog chases you, donkey, you can hide in my cave since there is nobody in there. The dog doesn't know that and won't dare to go inside. You two will make a big fuss and be as loud as possible to scare the lamb towards the hazel bush. I will jump out and catch it." All did as the lion said, and it worked quite well. Okay, that's it. Section 2. That's it not, and let's rinse it down. Wait a second. That wasn't the end of the story, just the end of the lamb. The lion carried it to his cave and divided it into 4 equal pieces. He cleared his throat and sent his helpers, the cat, the donkey, and the fox, off. "Well, goodbye then, gentlemen. That's it for you. All of this is mine anyways. Wait a minute, yelled the three. You can't do that to us. We worked together and helped each other. We are hungry. The king says, listen, you annoying little creatures. Let me break it down for you. First, I thought that you just wanted to give me a hint on what to eat for lunch. And besides, there is no contract, is there? Third, the first pile is mine because I am the fastest. The second one is mine because I have been hunting for years on end while you just peed in your pants. The third pile is mine because I killed it, and if anyone dares to get close to it, I will do the same to you. That way, I will have enough for the rest of the year and won't need to hunt anymore. They lower their heads and whisper, what a greedy animal. Oh, and by the way, adds the lion, I get the fourth pile because I am the king. Oh, really? Says the cat. We didn't vote for you. The lion threatens the cat. You better watch your words before I lose it. The lion was about to chase the cat down, and she fled. He remembered that he could lose his piles of food to the others if he left his spot. He thinks it is better to watch it rather than give it up. He knows the saying, if two fight, the others will profit. The fox and the donkey follow the cat and meet at the fox's den. The donkey starts whining and complains to the fox. This is your fault, you smart ass. We almost got eaten. At this point, Aesop's fable ends, and the moral of the story is that in most cases, the strongest one wins, and they usually don't honor agreements. You could call it the right of the fittest, but it was told that the fable has a continuation which says more about reality, and it is as follows. Oh well, the fox argues, it was worth a try. It's always about trial and error. It's a lesson learned. I personally don't think what the lion did was very smart. We won't engage him ever again. The other animals will talk about his greedy behavior, and no one will ever want to do the business with him. It is much more efficient to work together than alone. In other words, his business model is all but sustainable. You are right, admits the cat. The donkey says, yes, right. Let's grin on it and forget about it. The fox must pay because whoever is right has to pay the tab. That's how we do in Bavaria. It is well deserved, isn't it? The fox keeps thinking, do you think a contract would have changed anything? Is that what the future holds? No, predicts the cat. There will only be a future if everyone voluntarily contributes to the general well-being of others and takes only as much as they need to be happy and satisfied. Happiness means that everyone does what they are meant to do, and that makes them and others happy. Section 3. The lion alone at home. Everyone at the lion's home should have satisfied. All of them were fed and happy. But it had its downsides, because after the feast everything was dirty and the leftovers began to reek. The lion hired a domesticated animal to clean up the mess. His new slave happened to be a rabbit. He made fun of him all the time. Oh, good rabbit, whatever you fear doesn't exist. Even a leaf falling off a tree scared the hell out of you and you run into the bushes. Or when you see the shadow of a plane, you feel like you must dodge a bullet. Or at night, when the wind knocks over a bucket, you are scared and run for your life. You are restless throughout the night, and we always have to pick you up in the morning because you always get lost. Well, being scared is okay, but one has to retain some dignity, right? It's easy for you to say, says the rabbit. You terrorize everyone and only abide by your own rules. If I may ask, is there nothing your Majesty is afraid of? The lion rears up and says, there is absolutely nothing I am afraid of. I have told you that numerous times. The conversation is getting too personal, and he doesn't want to continue talking to his riff-raff anyway. He looks at the rabbit and says, over there is something I may have left. You should clean it up. But the rabbit wouldn't stop bugging. And what's with the people that shoot at you with their guns? Doesn't that scare you? It may have happened before, growls the lion, that the people have shot us with their guns. But in situations like that, I hide in my cave and lick my wounds. But that's it. Nevertheless, I go outside and practice my game. And we live in a protected area in case you hadn't noticed by now. Here the hunters are chased down, not the elephants. The rabbit takes a few steps back and tries another approach. I have never heard of any protected area. Who on earth protects me? And what do you know about bravery? What do you mean? Asked the lion for clarification. The rabbit shivers and shakes. Just by talking to you, I sweat blood and water. I use more energy in one day being on the lookout for danger than you use in your entire life. You intimidate everyone within a 2-mile radius. The real heroes are the cowards, but rarely does anyone ever think about it that way. Wait a minute. You are confusing something here, analyzes the lion. You are confusing fear with furrow. Furrow is what you need to survive. It is sometimes reasonable and sometimes not. One is more or less aware of it, whereas fear is something fundamental. It has different levels to it and it's mostly unconscious. It is much deeper seated. Fear presents itself in one's attitude, views, and the basic approach towards life. For example, greed is fear of shortage and of something, and such a fear is multifaceted. You must know exactly what they are in order to identify them. Stubbornness is fear of change. Fear will accompany you all your life. Fear sticks with you and all your life, whereas furrow is something you can give up if you no longer have a use for it anymore. The rabbit gets up, puts his apron to the side and says, I don't care if it's fear or furrow. I'm done, I am out, I am leaving. The lion is upset because someone must clean. And with the current lack of professional staff, he won't be able to find a replacement that quickly. He pretends to pick on one of the rabbit's bones and looks around to make sure no one saw him talking to a servant. So it turns out he does know furrow. He's afraid of the potential gossip that contains many different fears. He just doesn't want to admit it. Part 4. The lion with the badly dealt cards. He learned to fear the gossip. As you saw before, the lion did not himself a big favor by screwing over the other animals with his arrogant attitude. Not much long-term thinking there. The rabbit, the fox, the cat and the donkey all talked about him. He had a hard time hunting for food. The lion was already quite old, and the immense consumption of meat has caused him good. He heard the fox, the wild boar and the cat caught a young deer while he was living off cadavers. Again he went over there and told them, all this is mine because of this, that, and so on. They walk away obviously disappointed with the outcome. A crowd of ravens attacked the lion, flying around his head until the lion was dizzy and confused. And they said, "We will take a third of that deer as punishment for you hunting without a hunting license. Or do you happen to have one? So if we want to see it." The lion was confused, and before he could think of any good answer, the ravens had already filled their tummies and flown away. The lion was mad and wanted at least eat the rest of the deer in peace when he was suddenly interrupted by a bear coming out of the woods. He said, "Okay, listen, I will take half of the deer for your widow. That's what the law says." "Aha! And why do you think that?" groaned the lion. "I make the laws, and I don't recall anything about a widow." "Oh my God!" laughed the bear. "You didn't get the joke. Your old lady will become a widow soon because you won't make it much longer." The badger was awakened by the nuisance and jumped into the discussion immediately. "Stop with the constant nagging. I will take the remaining third as income tax. I can feed my family from that for 3 months. I'm sure you didn't do your taxes regarding your income this year." Then he left without saying anything. "But I'm the king of all the animals," screamed the lion. "Don't you have any respect for me?" "Well," says one of the vultures that just joined the lion, "you should have a crown that adorns your head and not the antlers of the deer." And they snatch the rest of the deer, including the antlers, and bring it to the offspring. Moral from the story. Nowadays, if you want to secure your lion's share to satisfy your ego, you must be quicker than the rest. However, if you want to maintain solidarity and respect, you must take a more sustainable approach rather than only focusing on the short-term profit.